Decades on the road give you a long time to think about why you like certain places more than others. I don't find it difficult to explain why I like Fremantle so much. So this is a long overdue little video about Fremantle. It's a pretty special place to visit. There are days where I'll finish work early, get on the bike and cycle from beach to beach, swimming, reading, hanging out as I go. For me, that's priceless quality living. I can't explain exactly what it is the ocean does, but I know that when it's in my life, the world's a better place. So this is Port Beach in Fremantle, and it's a couple of weeks, I guess 3 weeks to be precise, before winter, but I'm still managing to get afternoon swims here. Remarkably though, the beach is pretty much empty. There's one person in the water now, but it's there's not a lot of competition for space on Port Beach in the afternoons. Fremantle's a fantastic place for cycling too. I live very happily without a car. The driving culture is a lot less aggressive than it is in Sydney. And there are far better cycling paths too. Fremantle punches well above its weight for live music. It gives Australia's big cities a good run for their money. In the short period I've been there, I've had many musical highs. Gigs big and small.
Policeman, I'm wearing out a pair of shoes.
There was the day I was doing laps in the pool and I thought I heard an Oasis cover band sound checking. Turned out to be Liam Gallagher. The next night I was at the show. Or the bushfire benefit concert in January 2020 that featured the Waifs, San Cisco and John Butler. John Butler made sure we knew why we were there.
Our eyes do sting and our ears do ring from the sirens and the smoke. While the skeptics live in AC bubbles, calling it all a hoax. And around the world keeps turning. Between the floods, the fires are burning. Waiting for some savior to come, I don't even know why. We're sick and tired of feeling so alone. Anxiety breaking our bones. We've been given these wings to fly, but we choose to die. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why.
And these guys aren't visitors in Fremantle. They all have deep roots here. Moving to the West Coast is like moving to another country, and I say that in a good way. It's been wonderful sort of getting to know the west coast of the country, and those of us from the east coast tend to know very little about Western Australia. There's a real sense of difference in the west. This is one of the most remote cities on earth, with a vast Indian Ocean coastline. The history is different. Dutch ships were crashing onto this coast en route to Indonesia well over 100 years before the British arrived in Botany Bay. The 1629 wreck of the Batavia at the Shipwrecks Museum is one of the most remarkable exhibits in any museum in Australia. The treasures that were pulled off the wreck and the horrendous stories of the survivors are incredible. A short boat ride from Fremantle, Rottnest Island is one of the West's most loved holiday islands. Glorious beaches and these adorable quokkas put Rottnest on the tourist map. But there's a grim history too. Rottnest is finally being recognised as one of the worst sites of Aboriginal deaths in custody in all of Australia. Between 1838 and 1904, hundreds of Aboriginal men in chains perished here. Rottnest wasn't the only prison. Fremantle had two. This 1830s structure was the first permanent building built in the Swan River colony. In the 1850s, convicts built this larger prison for their own incarceration. It's now World Heritage listed and one of Fremantle's most popular tourism sites. Fremantle's working port is a big part of its character and history. Troops headed to both world wars from here. And after World War II, thousands of new immigrants to Australia arrived here. People like me have been blowing into Fremantle for a long time. And from my experience, there's a real sense of community here. Fremantle's history as a trading port isn't only in evidence as you explore the port area. It's also apparent as you wander the streets. There's an impressive collection of late 19th and early 20th century architecture. And Fremantle commemorates one of its heroes with one of the quirkiest monuments I know. There's a shipwreck here in the foreground, but actually that's not what we're here to see. Something even more bizarre than the shipwreck is that monument out there, which has to be one of the strangest monuments anywhere in Australia. It's a monument to a guy called C.Y. O'Connor, and he's commemorated here at this spot about 100 metres offshore on a beach south of Fremantle. This is where he rode his horse out and shot himself, killed himself here in, I think the year was 1902. Now this guy, C.Y. O'Connor, is a bit of a legend in European settlement in Western Australia. He built Fremantle Port, or he was the sort of main engineering mind behind that, and he also solved the water problem to supply the mines the gold mines at Kalgoorlie. And what a setting as well. It's a beautiful stretch of beach. You've got a wreck on the shore here, which apparently was a barge that came off its moorings. There are wrecks everywhere along this coast. It's extraordinary. And then you've got the old power station up there. And just to top things off, there's an abandoned brutalist power station looking over a picturesque patch of beach. There are plans for the site, but I'm not sure where they're at right now. As for me, I'm putting the idyllic Fremantle sunsets and the afternoon rides on hold while we wait to see what the post-COVID world's going to look like. I'm going to be in Sydney for 2021 and the foreseeable future, but I'm looking forward to my next dose of Fremantle already. Head over to rustycompass.com for more on travel in Fremantle and Western Australia, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you.